Hello, everyone. This is Brendan from the Christian Music Bros podcast. I'm joined today with the Kingdom Vessels band, and I'm gonna let them introduce themselves and what they do with the band. So go ahead, guys.
Hi, my name is Bryson, and I do lead guitar and backing vocals.
My name's Jacob, and I play bass.
Hey, what's up, guys? My name is also Jacob, and I play drums.
My name is Corey, and I play acoustic guitar, piano, and lead vocals.
Do you guys go by like Jacob 1 or Jacob 2 sometimes, just so we know who's who?
Yes, I'm Jacob number 1. He's Jacob number 2.
That's right. I'm proud of Jacob number 2.
That's a kind of cool, funny how you guys are both Jacob, because me and mine and Brandon names are similar. So people are like Brendan and Braden. They're like, this is a tongue twister to say, and that's like one of our fun parts because they get confused. But tell us a little bit about your guys' background, like where you guys met or where you guys are from, and like just how you guys started playing music together.
Sure. I can take that. If you guys have anything to add, feel free. Most of us met through church, so I actually believe me and Corey, we first met through. So we both go to Charleston Southern University, in Charleston, South Carolina, and we met through the campus worship called Elevate there. I was starting playing guitar. He was starting doing. He was pretty much jack of all trades because he was like acoustic guitar, bass guitar, singer. Like he was pretty much doing whatever they asked. Him and I really hit it off. We became friends through that. And so fast forward a little bit, me and the Jacobs are going to the same church. It's Northwood Baptist in North Charleston. And we all were playing on the worship team at Northwood, and we all just became friends, figured out that we all had this common love of the gospel and sharing the gospel and music just in general. So very short story is we all formed together just because, it was laid on my heart to start a Christian band that was not necessarily with a certain church or with a certain like campus ministry or anything like that. And so first person I asked was Jacob number 1 to play drums, and then Corey, and then last but certainly not least, we had Jacob number 2 on bass.
There were no other bass players.
So as a band, yeah, seen you guys put out an EP on Spotify. How was that experience for you guys?
Wild. Okay. So I'm going to give a little backstory with that. So November 2021, I went to a Brandon Lake and Phil Wickham sing-along tour. And crazy, I got pulled up on stage by Phil Wickham and prayed over. How that happened, I'm not sure. The grace of God, I guess. But prior to that, we had a Q&A session, and I told Brandon and Phil, and Pat Barrett was also on that tour. I told them like we had planned to, record in a live album that same night as our very first concert ever. And so they prayed over that, and it was just like solidified that, oh yeah, we're recording this and we're releasing this. So through that experience, that's why, like, who records their first concert, let alone their first like this. We've been playing with each other for a couple months up to this point, but it was just a wild thought to think, yeah, this is our first ever concert in front of anyone, first ever cohesive concert. Let's record it and put it on an album or put it on an EP. And
it worked.
We just did it.
How was that like experience with Phil Wickham? Like, how was it to you, like in your opinion? Like,
I really feel like it was spirit led. I feel like I was there for a reason, and I feel like he prayed over KV. I feel like he prayed over us for a reason. Because when I got up there, I made sure to make sure it wasn't about me. I wanted everyone to know that KV, like, our band, we're releasing an album and we want everyone to go check it out. We want everyone to love what we're putting out. We want everyone to love and support us and, do what they can to help support the mission of Kingdom Vessels. So when I was up there and I got to talk to one of my heroes, Phil Wickham, about my band recording an album, it was just an ethereal experience. I mean, it was just, I was over the moon. And so the only way to really describe it is just completely spirit-led and just completely anointed by God that I was there and that he prayed over me and KV. So
That's a really cool story. Like, I don't hear much stories like people like recording their first album or EP like in their first concert ever. So it must have been a little nerve-wracking. I can see like I get nervous when I'm doing like interviews like these or meeting with artists, but it's always a good experience. People tune in. It's always a fun time.
dude, it was bad. It was bad. Like we got ready. It was like we kept looking out behind the curtain at Northwood Baptist, and like we just kept seeing people come in. They were coming and coming and coming. I was like, oh my goodness, we have to show out now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we have to prove that we're worth something now. Like it was just crazy.
Who would you guys would say are some of your biggest musical influences?
Should we
Oh,
let
wait,
Chris
'cause-
take this because it'll take
Okay.
like 20 minutes?
Okay, I'll try to sum it up. So from
Like,
the
you don't have to go in much detail, just like a couple artists that
Yeah.
inspire you, and then
So from the world of Christian music, some very big influence of mine. So my favorite Christian band artist ever is Third Day. I mean, I'm a huge Third Day fan, and even Mac Powell with his solo stuff. I'm a massive fan of them, and as well as Crowder, Casting Crowns. That general genre of Christian music. As far as my playing goes, there's really only 4 guitarists that I can think of off the top of my head, and that's Richie Sambora from Bon Jovi. He's the reason I picked up the guitar. Eddie Van Halen from the band Van Halen, of course. He's the reason that I really started taking it seriously and wanted to get better. Then the other 2 are John Mayer and Kingfish Ingram. Those 2 have a very big, very, very big influence on my playing.
That's facts. Yeah.
I just actually saw Crowder last week, so it was really cool. Like, if I was in a band, like Crowder, Mercy Me, and Casting Crowns would be like my inspiration for me personally. Like, they all have cool stories, and everyone has like their unique story, and it's really cool to see like where to get their inspiration from.
Definitely.
We're gonna just switch gears for a minute. This is gonna be a complete random question, so sorry this was not prepared. But if you could cover any song, what would you cover?
Ooh,
That's a good question.
You see, this podcast, we just go on random tangents sometimes and just go for random topics, but it makes it more fun and engaging,
Any song ever, like any genre.
Yeah, it can be any genre if you could cover.
Oh my gosh. I really think we could pull off Bohemian Rhapsody. I really think we could pull it off. It's so like wacko all over the place, and it's just so so musically intricate. So I really feel like we could pull. I really
That's
feel
bold.
like Bohemian Rhapsody. It is bold, and I know the only band to even come close to it is Panic at the Disco. But even then, like that's not touching Queen. You know what I mean? So, I mean, that's what I'm gonna say. I'm gonna say Bohemian Rhapsody. I think we could do it.
That's a pretty unique song to choose. Have you guys ever heard of the cover of September by Tolerant Wells? Tolerant Wells,
Yes.
September.
Oh my gosh, that's a
what
good
that
cover.
just made me what it thinks of. Like, you guys just saying Bohemian Rhapsody, that's what made me think of. But Tolerant Wells does a cover of September by Earth, Wind, and Fire. I recommend to check it out if you guys haven't.
Oh, it's such a good cover.
I've
And,
never
like,
heard of it. I'll have to check it out.
so this is kind of a side thing. So when Tolerant Wells first got out of Royal Tier, he was a little solo, like he was still getting well known. Like, he was a little indie, maybe like a little independent artist. And I was doing his merch table, and I was working his merch table, and all of a sudden I heard that song on. I was like, "Am I at the right concert?" Because like, and then it was just like Tolerant Wells comes out on stage singing that song and everything. I was like, I guess I am at the right concert.
Nice.
What is each of your guys' personal favorite memory of being in this band?
Wow, that's hard. You take it first.
Me, huh? Hmm. That's a tough one. I mean, the night of our first concert was just epic. I mean that is something that even like I know it was that whole night. I was actually working before then, and like I was supposed to get off early, and then I didn't. And then so I'm rushing to get to the church late. I mean, not late. I was still early, but just not as early as I wanted to. And I mean, it was just the spiritual warfare that I felt in that time was just a lot. And then at one point, Bryson decided just to leave and go do some homework.
Dude, like an hour before the concert. Bryce's
Yeah.
like, yeah, I got a paper to go write. I'm gonna go write that real quick.
Yeah. So
Guilty.
it was just a, I mean, the whole day leading up to that time was just crazy. And then just getting in the moment, you know, worshiping God. I mean, having like 250 to 300 people in the audience, knowing we're recording, it really is like probably the pivotal moment of that.
That's pretty cool. You guys had like 250 to 300 people on your first concert. Like that's pretty good for you. Like having your like first show. So that's impressive.
All right, Bryson, you got it. What's your favorite memory?
Writing on paper.
Oh man. All right. So I know for me, this past summer, there was a gig that we did. It was a local gig. We were actually playing at a behavioral health facility in Somerville, South Carolina. And it was an incredible experience because the kids were just awesome, first and foremost. But second thing was, I think at the end of that gig, at the end of basically once we stopped playing the music, every member of the band had a gospel conversation with at least one of those kids. And it just kind of solidified why we do what we do. Like regardless of the size of the gig or the turnout, or regardless of our popularity on Spotify or Apple Music or whatever the case is, like we are messengers of the gospel, and we have been blessed with that opportunity and that privilege. And so for me, that was kind of a core memory from my experience with KV so far.
Yeah, that's great, Bryson. That's one of my favorites as well. It was so cool. The kids were pouring onto us. They were just showing like just an immense level of love that they haven't felt outside of that place. It was really encouraging to see where their hearts were, and then where their hearts were after we left them, after we have shared the gospel with them. My personal favorite memory, though, has to be one of our more recent gigs back in November.
Somewhere around there.
November, I think we played a youth conference in Charlotte, North Carolina. Dude, they were so good to us. They put us up in this like 12-star hotel. Dude, it was so cool. Like the whole thing, like they loved on us. They were like really easy to work with. It was just like that sense of, oh, like we're real people, you know what I mean? We're not any more than anyone else. You know, we're staying in the same hotel with all the kids and everything. It was just a really eye-opening experience, like how good people are to us, and how good God is to us to enable us to be at a youth conference like that, to be able to play in front of 150 kids that just are eager to learn more about the gospel. And so that whole experience, just driving up to Charlotte, staying in that really nice hotel. I mean, it was just like, they had a waterfall, man. They had a waterfall within the middle of the hotel. It was like 20 stories. It was crazy. But
Is that why it's a 12-star?
one more time.
Is that why it's a 12-star to waterfall?
Yeah, basically. But no, so I mean that's one of my all-time favorites is just seeing all those kids. We heard there were a few salvations that weekend, and it was just a great time. So
Yeah, it sucks. I'll probably have to piggyback off Corey and say that was probably my favorite memory as a band. I have not much else to say other than that. He pretty much said everything. The kids were so authentic in their relationships with Christ, and you could see that through the way they worship, the way they interact with everyone. Their worship was just so authentic. Every single session we had, it was complete surrender
yeah, it was good.
to Christ,
It was really good.
and it was just really really nice to see that.
Yeah, there was a part actually the last night we were there where the Spirit was just moving and flooding that place. I mean, we ended the last song. I think we did "Oh Come to the Altar" as the last song, and then kids came down. They came down to the altar and they were praying for repentance, and they were praying and just crying out for the Lord, and the Spirit moved, and we just kept playing and playing, and I ran out of ideas of songs to keep singing because how much the Spirit was moving. You know what I mean? Like we just kept going and kept going because the Spirit of God was just overflowing that place with all those youth and just their passion for Christ and their passion for worship, and it was just a beautiful thing.
Seems like a powerful moment. Do you guys have any conferences or anything coming up like that again?
We will in the future, hopefully. At the moment, we don't really have a whole lot planned. We've mostly been taking care of kind of behind the scenes stuff, like making sure that our live sound is okay and making sure that just a lot of behind the scenes stuff at the moment.
Well, if you guys ever need any help or anything, you guys can hit me up and I'll try to see what I can do for you guys and everything.
For sure.
Like I'll be actually in South Carolina in like 3 weeks. Fun fact. So I'll be there for like
Nice.
a week. So
What part?
I'm gonna be in Myrtle Beach. I'm going on vacation with my family and everything. So
Okay,
That's fun.
yeah.
gotcha, man.
So but like okay, so now for my favorite part, I always ask everyone this. What is your like favorite artist or song? I just like to hear like people and then like because like we like discussing Christian music, so I just like to hear everyone's opinions on songs and albums.
I'll go first.
Yeah, you got it.
So lately, my favorite has been, it's been from 10th Avenue North. It's off their live EP. That was back in 2011. It's pretty obscure. You have to scroll down on Spotify quite a bit to find it. But Love Is Here, the live version, it is top tier of a live recorded performance, and me and Corey listen to it in the car pretty much anytime we're in the car together.
We listen to it religiously.
I think I've listened to a couple of the tracks off the album. I haven't listened to the whole album.
But yeah, that's definitely my favorite right now.
All right, Bryson.
You can go ahead, Ard.
For me, it's man, I just recently watched that movie, the Mercy Me movie. I Can Only Imagine, and I loved that song as a kid. Like that I listened to that all the time. Love that song. Bass wise, a song that has killed me for years is Salvation Is Here, with the actual bass solo part, and that is like a song that I want to punch in the face so bad, but to this day I still cannot fully get that solo down. So, oh man,
That's funny.
And I Can Only Imagine too. Like Bart Miller's one of my favorite songwriters. I like all his personal songs. If you get to know him, like I don't know him personally. I wish I did because he would be a cool dude to know personally. But whenever I see him, he like it just has great stories with all his songs and meanings and everything.
Yeah, definitely.
Nice.
All right, Bryson, your answer is going to shape my answer, so you go ahead.
All right. So here recently, there is this artist named Charity Gale, and she has this live album called Endless Praise. Oh my gosh, it is incredible. I mean, there's not just one song that I can pick off of that album. I mean, musically, vocally, lyrically, it is just a 10 out of 10 album that I would recommend to anybody who might be interested.
I'll have to check that one out.
It's so good.
Yeah, and so okay, well, it goes without saying for the rest of the band who my favorite artist is.
Brandon Lake.
Brandon Lake is 100% my favorite artist. Specifically his recent album Help. Brandon Lake released that as a mental health record. And mental health is something that's very, very, very near and dear to my heart because I struggle with mental health, things. So specifically the song So Close. It's Brandon Lake and Amanda Cook. And the song, it cries out and it says, "You're the end of all anxiety, the safest place for you, the safest place for suffering." I mean, Jesus is closer in our hearts than we've ever known. I mean, he's right here. He's with us. So, I mean, just the overall message of that album, just the message, every single song is just, it's the nail on the head with what it truly means to battle mental health as a Christian and how to overcome it through the blood of Jesus. So, I mean, it's a beautiful written album. He's a beautiful man, great, long, luscious hair. That's what I'm going for, but
You're getting there.
we're about halfway there right now. So, but no, that's who influenced. That's my favorite. So,
Awesome. So we just have a few more minutes. Is there anything else you guys want to discuss? Anything you want to ask me? Or floor is open to discuss whatever you guys want to discuss. We just like giving people the floor to discuss whatever they want to talk about.
I think just one thing that I actually talk at every show that we do about is our merchandise. First off, Norman creates that's the other Jacob, Jacob number one. He creates just some incredible logos and stuff and does just a phenomenal job. And our merchandise is really good. But then just one thing that was kind of near and dear to us is one of the things we do at our merchandise table is we have Bibles there that we give out for free. We kind of started this, and I think like one Bible got taken at 3 or 4 shows. But then just at the last couple shows, I mean, we've been playing a lot of youth events and stuff, and the students are just grabbing those Bibles up. And I mean, we're just about out. We actually probably need to order some more and everything. And it's just such a huge blessing to be able to just get the word of God out there more and more.
Awesome. I'll definitely check out your guys' merchandise and everything. So I'll check it out for you guys. Anyone else want to add anything?
I guess for you, what's a song that you've been listening to recently, or an album that you've been listening to recently?
So I have a couple. I just saw Cochran & Co. live last week because I went to the Hit Zoo tour, hence the hat. But his new album Running Home is really good. If you haven't listened to it, I highly recommend it. Like, I think I played all 10 songs of that album on Spotify before I went to see the concert, and I liked every single song. So that's like a big one. Before you guys joined in, I was listening to We Are Messengers Come What May album, or I mean Wholehearted album. But that's
Yeah.
So
Nice.
and then I've been also listening to a lot of Big Daddy Weave lately. So those are a couple of few artists. I listen to a little bit of everything. Like everyone's like, I like one genre of Christian music. Like the other day, my music went from like Lecrae, The Red, The Mercy Me, to like Andy
Right.
Minaj. So
let's go. Man, I saw Red back in it was like 2015 or something. Winter Jam. Those guys.
Winter Jam shit from 2013.
Oh, I mean, yeah, that's probably what it was. Honestly.
But so like I just like talking Christian music. We like I said, we like meeting with like different artists, just hearing their story, talking about a little bit of their fun experiences and everything. So that's like what I like to do. My Spotify playlist is over 1,800 songs long of Christian music. So
Let's go. Man, you're rocking it.
so I listen to it a bit everything.
Yeah.
But mainstream wise, I'm a big Coldplay fan, so
Got you.
there's a lot of hidden meaning in Coldplay songs. If you actually deep dive into their music, there's a lot of hidden meanings in a couple of their songs. And I don't know why Bryson screams like being like a ghost glitch up pig. Sorry,
Yeah, Bryce, this is glitching out. That's funny.
his dorm.
Dude, I don't know what's going on. It's been doing that all night.
It's that CSU Wi-Fi.
Yeah. it is.
I
It's haunted.
No, like we're talking about Winter Jam, like that's ultimately where I think we want to go. Like we want to play Winter Jam,
Mhm.
like mega bad. You know what I mean? When we got together and formed the band, we were like, all right, so like what's our big goal? And I was like, Winter Jam, like that's my big goal. I wanted to play Winter Jam since 2014 or 13 or whatever, when I first won the Winter Jam. I was like, oh yeah, like we can do this. Like I mean, thousands of people in PNC Arena in Raleigh just like throwing their hands up, like uplifting God, and it's just like that's great. I want to be a part of that. You know what I mean? So
Yeah, I feel you what you're saying. One of my personal goals is to tour somehow with like a band or an artist just for like, even if it's for like 2 weeks, like it's just something I want to do.
Yeah, for sure.
But is there anything else you guys want to add?
Well, you are, tech, right?
Tech.
Like tech, can you run sound?
A little bit. I'm more of the
little bit?
behind the scenes. I know how to
Okay.
do videos. Like I know how to operate
Okay.
video production. I took a video production class for like 5 years, and I do photography.
So what I'm hearing is if we go on tour, we know a guy.
Yeah, I actually majored in social media communications too. So
There you
fun.
go.
we know
So
we're
that's one reason why we made this podcast too. Brad and I, we like talking about Christian music, and I wanted to do something my major was a part of. So this is like one way I could incorporate those things. So,
it's pretty sick, bro. Well, you're doing a good job at it, of
well, thank you.
course.
Well, thanks for joining me. I know this is a little uncasual interview, but that's what we like to do. We like to do uncasual interviews, just random questions and just have a great time. So that's what we try to capture with our guest stars and everything. Sometimes we'll have a theme, sometimes we just go off record. But I think that's what's one thing that makes our podcast unique. We give the people the floor to speak what they want to speak about. So thanks again, everyone that is watching. Tune in later this week for a couple other more episodes. We have a fun week ahead, and check out Kingdom's Vassals Music. I highly recommend them to all those who are listening.